Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I'm not sure when you are watching this, but today we will be discussing the Elder Dragons and what they're doing now, or what I think they're doing or planning to do. If you haven't watched my previous video detailing the Elder Dragons in Guild Wars 2, I suggest you doing so. There will be a link in the description. This video is also spoilers for all Heart of Thorns material, along with Living World Season 3. So, in Living World Season 3, we see Primordus moving south from his original resting place in the Shiver Peaks in underground caverns. Primordus was the first of the Elder Dragons to awaken, exiling the Asura from the caverns beneath the surface, and also leading the dwarves to sacrifice their entire race in the Rite of the Great Dwarf. The Rite of the Great Dwarf is a ritual where King Jarla's Ironhammer turned all of the Deldrimor dwarves into stone in order to combat the Great Destroyer and Primordus's other minions. Dwarves were also left at the entrance to the Great Caverns in order to stop any Destroyer minions from reaching the surface. However, we now see a huge influx of Destroyer minions rising to the surface. Previously, there had only been small amounts of Destroyer minions, namely in the eastern Maguma locations like Timberline Falls, Mount Maelstrom, and Lorna's Pass. It is safe to assume that either the dwarves sent into the caverns to combat Primordus have either fallen, or Primordus has shifted his armies and location, which is now more plausible as Timey views Primordus on the leyline machines she discovers in Rada Novus, and these machines all show Primordus in the Fire Island chain. But why there? It would have to be because the death of Mordremoth and Zaitan have left two large deposits of magic in the world, and the Fire Island chain is right in the middle of these two, allowing Primordus to absorb the leftover magics from both of the dead Elder Dragons. Then, what about Jormag? Jormag is still in the northern Shiver Peaks, but has become active. So why is Jormag suddenly active if it isn't showing any intention of moving closer to these large deposits of magics? We can see that Jormag is definitely absorbing some of these magics from Zaitan and Mordremoth, because Jormag's minions are changing and are now corrupted in the same way that Primordus's minions have now been fusing all three types of magics, the fire, the death, and the jungle magics, and Jormag mirrors these with ice, death, and jungle variants of his magics and his minions. The interesting part is that both Jormag and Primordus's magics counter each other, and this is what Timey theorizes after interacting with the machines in Rada Novus, leading to her plan to essentially get both Elder Dragons to fight among each other while we swoop in and take out the victor while they're weakened. However, if by process of elimination we look at all 6 Elder Dragons, the counter magics get a bit weird. Jormag and Primordus counter each other. It would be safe to assume that Zaitan and Mordremoth counter each other, with Mordremoth being all about jungle and life, and Zaitan all about death and disease. And that leaves us with 2 Elder Dragons left over, Kralkatorrik and the Deep Sea Dragon. Does crystal beat water in some way that I'm not sure of, or does water beat crystal in some way I'm not sure of? I'm not sure, so we'll have to wait and see what they do with Kralkatorrik and the Deep Sea Dragon in upcoming expansions or Living World seasons. Which brings me to my next point, Aurene. Aurene is referred to as the second scion of Glint, essentially the second offspring of Glint, the first one being Gleam, which we haven't heard from a really long time. And Season 2 of Living World takes us on a journey to find out what happens to Glint's egg, and we have to retrieve it from Kaith after she steals the egg and devotes her life to protecting the egg, as per her wild hunt. And during the Heart of Thorns story, we give the egg to the Exalted to protect, shortly before the egg hatches and Aurene is born. It is safe to say that Kralkatorrik would be pretty mad if he were to learn about Glint's offspring being alive, and not only being alive, but being trained and raised and protected by the same group of people that have killed 2 Elder Dragons so far. And seeing as though the first thing Kralkatorrik did when he awoke last time was to chase down Glint and kill her for betraying him. The only issue with this is how Kralkatorrik would know that we're harboring Aurene. We don't have anyone on the team that is a sympathizer with the Crystal Dragon, nor a member of the team that is a branded, which is the name given to Kralkatorrik's minions, and if we did, it would be a similar situation to what we saw with Scarlet and Mordremoth, with Mordremoth being able to influence Scarlet to wake him up. If Kralkatorrik was on the storyboard from an upcoming expansion, or even a late addition to Season 3 of the living world, it would have to mean that we're off to the Crystal Desert, which is very exciting. With Morgemoth, we saw the addition of the Heart of Maguma to the world, giving us 4 new maps with large aerial biomes in the same region of the world. Or, if Crystal Desert was to be added, would we see it go the way of Season 3 so far, giving us a selection of maps to visit peppered throughout the world, which would make sense if Kralkatorrik does show his face during Season 3. With Primordus, we saw the addition of Ember Bay, a map on the Fire Island chain, and Jormag gave us Bitterfrost Frontier, a map in the far north Shiver Peaks, and the other 2 maps, Bloodstone Fen and Lake Doric, are maps focusing on the civil war in Kryta at the time. So, if we are to fight all 3 dragons at the same time, it would be interesting if we got maps focused intensely on a small region of the world, or if we got spread out maps. However, if we are going to see the Crystal Desert, the story would have to increase in pace immensely if it was to appear in Season 3. Because if Season 3 stayed on the same time frame as Season 2, we got 9 episodes for Season 2, and we're already 4 episodes into Season 3. And with the way the story is progressing, it looks like the chances of us getting Kralkatorrik in Season 3 would be low, seeing as though the stories so far have pushed us further away from the desert, not including Ritlock being recalled to the Black Citadel, which is about the closest we get to the Crystal Desert. So, although it would be cool to get my favourite dragon in Living World Season 3, I'm not getting my expectations too high, but hopefully I'm proven wrong in an upcoming story. So my final point for today is what happens when 5 of the 6 Elder Dragons die. If the magics that are seeping out into the world is what is going to happen when all Elder Dragons die, and the absorption of these magics by the other Elder Dragons is something that happens shortly after, then it would be safe to assume that the final dragon left alive would be an all-powerful dragon being that would be near impossible to stop, right? So, if we manage to kill all the land-dwelling dragons, leaving the deep sea dragon to last because it's the most out of the way and it's also not doing anything, it's just being alive. So if we manage to kill all the land-dwelling dragons and go for the deep sea dragon last, not only would we finally get a reveal of the deep sea dragon, it would also be the most powerful dragon Tyria has ever seen. With the death of Primordus and Jormag, if and when it happens, putting a huge amount of magic into Tyria, Kralkatorrik and the deep sea dragon would definitely not be able to ignore this huge influx of magics. And that leaves me with a question for all of you. Which dragon do you think we will fight after Primordus and Jormag? Will it be a fight with the Dragon of Crystal or the Deep Sea Dragon? With Kralkatorrik having enough reason to attack right now, but the Deep Sea Dragon has been silent for a really long time. So let me know below in a comment and leave a like if you enjoyed the video and a dislike if you didn't enjoy the video. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And I'll see you in the next video, so thank you very much for watching.